A Valley Hispanic leader is looking for some answers after federal investigators decided not to file charges against Sheriff Joe Arpaio. This investigation looked into whether the sheriff used his position to target other public officials. Randy Perez, co-founder of the president of the Citizens for a Better Arizona, showed up at Sheriff Arpaio's office today, and before this stop, he was at the U.S. Attorney's office in downtown Phoenix.
Now, the U.S. Attorney didn't notify the public of its decision until 5 o'clock on Friday. We brought you that as breaking news, but that makes really today the first day that people can try to get some answers about the decision after the Labor Day weekend.
And we know a lot of you have been curious about this decision and how much the investigation cost you in the first place.
And some of you maybe even wondered why the news was released at closing time heading into a long holiday weekend.
So we sent Navita Forgani in search of some answers for you. And Navita, what did you find?
Well, Katie, not much. I reached a lot of dead ends today. I made phone calls to the U.S. Attorney's office. I even went down to their office, but no one wanted to answer my questions.
It's a 3-year investigation that ends with nothing but questions.
I think is very fishy. The fact that they issue a press release at 4:30 on a Friday afternoon before a 3-day weekend. They don't have a press conference. They don't give the many victims of Joe Arpaio's abuses of power the opportunity to ask questions. Why isn't he being held to account?
The U.S. Attorney's Office announced Friday they were closing its investigation into criminal conduct by Sheriff Joe and MCSO.
Hey, this is Navita Forgani with ABC 15. We just had some questions about the investigation against Arpaio.
I spent all day trying to find out why, from phone calls to emails. The only response from the feds: no comment. Former U.S. Attorney Paul Charlton says the reason the office is being so tight-lipped is because it's an election year.
The Department of Justice policy is to be very careful not to be seen as interfering one way or the other in any contested election. And if you release too much information on the Joe Arpaio decision, you would inevitably become involved in a dialogue that would give people who support Joe Arpaio ammunition and people who disagree with Joe Arpaio ammunition, and that's what the U.S. Attorney wants to avoid.
A policy that might not favor activists who will now have to wait until November to get a ruling from the voters.
And we might not know any of those details until after the November election. And I promise you, Katie and Steve, we're going to keep asking those questions.
Yeah, you understand why people are frustrated without hearing anything.